Thank you for being here. Welcome to the fellowship service of Cosmic Dream Sanctuary. This is January 23rd. It is 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. The Cosmic Dream Sanctuary is an ecumenical, interfaith, and open community of meditation, contemplation, and fellowship. This service, which is composed of readings, meditation, and a message, is live streamed to Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. Then you are invited to join us in fellowship on Zoom after the service to connect with the community and to share your experience. For more information and for the link to the Zoom room, please go to cosmicdreamsanctuary.org/fellowship. We are glad you're here. So you are God dreaming you. That's the message for today, and that is actually the message of this service. We use meditation, reading, contemplation, and fellowship to develop ourselves so that we may embody greater love, peace, and unity consciousness here and now on earth for the benefit of all beings. We acknowledge the reality of the community of non-physical, celestial, angelic, extraterrestrial, elemental, and spirit beings as the many dream characters in the divine mind, which is your deepest and highest self. For more information and links, please go to cosmicdreamsanctuary.org/fellowship. So we are all one. This fellowship service is offered in the tradition of mystic Christianity, Mahayana Buddhism, dream studies, CE5, and quantum healing. Mystic Christianity is the understanding that the message of the gospel, the message of Christianity, invites us to see Christ consciousness within ourselves and to actually see that we are somehow not distinct from the nature of divinity. And I believe this is the message of the Christ, and so you are invited to explore that here and now. Mahayana Buddhism is Buddhism, which is a set of practices and philosophies to awaken the mind and establish habits of the mind to move us from suffering into a state of enlightenment. You might understand this as nirvana. Mahayana Buddhism does so in the context of being of service to others for the benefit of all beings. So we use that motivation of serving others to advance or even fuel our development as meditators. The dream studies aspect really does bring in the sense that everything is a dream and that we are personally responsible for our experiences. And then CE5 is all about human-initiated contact with other realms of experience, such as UFOs or extraterrestrials. We can also do this for angelic or divine consciousness or earth consciousness. So this is the sense that we are capable as human beings of reaching out and receiving messages and communications that are meaningful and beneficial to our human family here and now on Earth. Quantum healing comes from the New Age tradition as well as the traditions of hypnosis. And so this really sees the going inwards using trance and other means as a source of knowledge, as a source of healing and transformation, understanding that when we go into that state of within ourselves, there is capacity to transform in a way that is quantum, magical, sort of quantum leap forward type experience. This service is ministered by me, Daniel Rekshan. I hold a bachelor's degree in Western Liberal Arts, a master's degree in East-West Psychology, a certificate in hypnotherapy in the spiritual counseling modality of depth hypnosis, a certificate in Beyond Quantum Healing, and I am ordained in the Universal Life Church. So the schedule for today is we will have a welcome, mindfulness meditation, contemplations, reading, more meditation, more reading, some prayer. I will deliver a message which is about the dreamlike nature of reality. We will meet our greater community, which is exploring the one aspect or one avatar or experience of this greater spiritual community that we hold as real. And today is the Angel Gabriel. And then finally, we'll have a closing contemplation. The experience. So you are invited to engage with this service in whatever way is meaningful to you. That might be following all of the readings, all of the meditations. That might be turning on your phone and leaving it in the room and doing dishes. Whatever you're doing, that is very, very welcome. So we are co-creating this together. So just like we create our world together, so too do we create this sacred space of fellowship. If you have any feedbacks or suggestions, or if you'd like to offer any part of the service, such as a reading, music, or even the message, please get in touch with me at daniel@cosmicdreamsanctuary.org. So you are the way and the truth. You yourself are. In anything, or to leave behind your own traditions, wisdom, or religion. This is simply a time of study, meditation, practice, and prayer. We ask that you use your own power of discernment to accept or reject whatever is offered. And we invite you to explore the message in your own life. All you need to do is be more open than closed, to invite those beings that are here and now to be of assistance to you, such as the angels, such as your guides, such as the deeper aspects of yourself, to be here and help you embody greater peace, love, and unity consciousness. So just a few questions for you now to help you open to possibility. What would it be like to know that you are already enlightened and a spark of divinity? What would it be like to know that this world is a dream in the mind of God? What would it be like to know that there is a vast and diverse community of beings, angels, extraterrestrials, elementals, and so on surrounding you? What would it be like to know that there is divinity in all sacred text and in all people? What would it be like to know that we are all one? What would it be like to know that we are invited into greater communion and greater community through unity consciousness so that we may embody peace, love, and joy? What would it be like to know that we can awaken to the nature of our dream-like reality so that we can truly be of service and benefit to our relations here and now on Earth? So with that introduction, let's move into mindfulness meditation. This is really the base of all the work we do here and now. Mindfulness meditation comes out of for me, out of the traditions of Buddhism, but it is really agnostic. It is really a set of techniques and tools. In this mindfulness meditation, we will use the sensation of breath as the focal point of consciousness. So rather than finding peace or clearing our mind, we are really simply using these few moments together to practice bringing our attention from wherever it is back to the sensation of breath. So you can begin that practice simply by tuning into your body and moving into a state of awakened posture, perhaps. So if you're sitting on a meditation cushion, that's great. If you're sitting on a chair, that's wonderful. Wherever you are, just tune into your body to see if there's any step forward or shift of posture that would invite greater presence. And so the traditional meditation instruction is to sit with a straight spine to ensure that your head is a little forward, that you're not is not too loose and not too tight, that sort of thing. So just play around with that, and as you play around with your posture, start to tune into your breath. You don't really need to control it at all. Just tune into the sensation of you already breathing. Just exploring what it's like to breathe. You may place your attention on the sensation of breath as it leaves your body, or even on the sensation of your belly moving in and out as you breathe. Just discover what it's like to be breathing here and now, right now, as you. You get distracted. The sensation of breath in your body. That's perfect. That's exactly what you should be doing. So just allow yourself to come back to that sense of breath. Whenever and wherever we are in this service together, you're actually invited to come back to the space of mindfulness. So we'll move on to the Lojang mind training slogans. Lojang is it's just the words for mind training. This comes from the Tibetan Mahayana tradition, and these are a series of slogans, about 50 slogans over 7 different points that help us engage our concepts. So if you're familiar with Zen koans, or if you're familiar with quotes from Facebook, you'll know how to engage with these slogans simply by contemplation, simply by working with that. And so tuning into this space of mindfulness, first by arriving with your breath, just receive the slogan, regard all dharmas as dreams. Although experiences may seem solid, they are passing memories. So dharmas, in this case, dharma means truth, but in this way, it might actually be seen as all phenomenon. So again, regard all dharmas as dreams. Although experiences may seem solid, they are passing memories. So now we'll move into the space of opening contemplation. This is just a time to connect in with our energy bodies, with our minds, with our hearts, with our souls, bringing in energy, creating a sphere of protection or energy around us. So you can do that by following my suggestions of visualization, imagination. If you have a great visualization capacity, that's wonderful. But if you are rather like me and can't see very well, then you're invited to simply be open to the suggestions, to imagine what it might be like to see or feel these things. So just starting now with sensing or feeling or imagining a flow of white light through the universe. This white light could come from the galactic center, the center of the galaxy, and flow straight through the sun to the top of your head. And then just simply imagine or sense or feel what it might be like to experience this white light moving down your spine through all the different centers of your being, especially your heart, all the way down to the base of your spine. Just sense or feel or imagine that this flow of white light connects you with the center of the earth. Much like a taproot might connect a plant with the earth, this flow of white light connects you with the earth. And at this time, you're invited to let go of anything that is standing in the way of you being more present here. So this might be a sense of tension within the body, sense of anxiety, distractions, whatever. You can let go of these things into the flow of white light and let that white light take it to the earth, because the earth receives things like dead bodies and poop and transforms them into beautiful life force energy. So you can let go of whatever you have within you that you want to let go of for the earth to transform into new energy. So in this cleared state, I invite you now to draw up energy from the earth through that taproot, through that sense or feeling or imagining this connection with the earth. Drawing up that new energy up into your heart, up into the top of your head, and then let that flow of light just surround you in a sphere, right? So this sphere can serve to protect you from anything that doesn't have your highest good as its intent. So this sphere of energy is surrounding you and protecting you in the most beautiful and gentle ways. And I invite you to sense or feel or imagine that the sphere of white light sort of vibrating with your own frequency, with the frequency of the galaxy. And I want you to sense or feel or imagine that this sphere, this vibration, starts to surround all of your loved ones, all of the people in the house with you, serving to protect them, to harmonize them, to bring them into tune with the greater energies of the earth and the sky. And let this sense of harmonization and protection surround all of us here now at this service, and in fact, all of our human family. So with that, we can move into our chanting and mantra practice. These mantra and chants come from the Mahayana Buddhist tradition, and they're a way to simply open the space and open the heart. The four dharmas of Gampopa are asking for blessings in our practice, and the Heart Sutra actually means going, 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 keep going until all are enlightened. So this is really an expression of our Mahayana Buddhist intention. You don't have to be Buddhist to participate. You can just simply resonate with it as you see fit for you. Grant your blessings so that my mind may be one with the Dharma. Grant your blessings so that Dharma may progress along the path. Grant your blessings so that the path may clarify confusion. Grant your blessings so that confusion may dawn as wisdom. Om Gate Gate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. Om Gate Gate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. Om Gate Gate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha. And then shifting from mantra to prayer. This is the Lord's Prayer. It comes from the Christian tradition. And if you relate to divinity or source consciousness in your life in a non-theistic way, that's wonderful. If you relate to those source as feminine or anything like that, I simply invite you to translate the words Our Father into whatever is meaningful to you. So with that, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, glory, power, forever and ever. Amen. And now, moving into a way of opening sacred space. This comes from the Western magical tradition, the Western ceremonial magic tradition. This sort of moving around the circle of the directions and saying the names of God and invoking the presence of the angels is a way to both clear space and invoke the presence of deeper energies. And so as I do this, you can simply imagine that we're turning around in a circle, starting with the east, with the name of God, Yod-He-Vah-He, which is the Tetragrammaton, also known as Yahweh. So turning to the east, Yod-He-Vah-He, south, Adonai, and west, Ehihi, north, Agla, above, all, below, us, within, I, and now calling on the names of the angels. So imagining before you, Raphael, behind you, Gabriel, on your right hand, Michael, on your left hand, Uriel, above you, Metatron, below you, Gaia, and within you, Christ. So thank you for opening sacred space. I will engage now in reading. And so the invitation here is to be present in the way you were present with your breath. And so if it's helpful, remember to return to the posture of mindfulness, in whatever way is meaningful to you, and simply allow the reading to flow over you. We'll start with the Parable of the Pearl from Matthew chapter 13, verse 45 through 46. And this is offered because in a moment we will read another version of this parable from a Gnostic gospel. And this is starting to talk about the nature of the dreamlike nature of our reality. So this first reading is offered as a way to explore this. And I'll speak more about that in a moment. So Matthew chapter 13, verse 45 through 46. These are the words of the Christ. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away, sold everything he had, and bought it. So that was really short. I'll read it again. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. So you might be wondering what that has to do with the dreamlike nature of reality. Well, this is, we'll discover that actually in this next reading, which is from the fable or parable of the pearl, which comes from the apocryphal Acts of the Apostle Thomas. Alan Jacobs described this as a dramatic Greek myth depicting the soul's bodily incarnation and its eventual liberation. It's attributed to Jude Thomas the Apostle, and it summarizes the Gnostic call to awaken from the dream of life into self or God realization. So we see that in the kind of Orthodox Christianity, we might have had 2 lines of expression about this parable. But then in the Gnostic or more mystic literature, we have several pages, which I'll read to you. This is understood to be something like a hymn. This is understood to be like something like a message designed to awaken you actually to the dreamlike nature of reality. And it is several pages in this book, so the book, The Gnostic Gospels. And so I invite you simply to be present and allow the hymn, this fable of the pearl, to wash over you and to simply be present with it in the way you're present with your breath. When I was an innocent child, I lived in my father's house, enjoying the love of all who reared me. Then my parents sent me from our eastern home with enough goods for a long trip. They burdened me with treasure light enough to bear alone. Gold from ancient hills, silver plate and goblets, emeralds from India and agates from Kosa, but they stripped me of my robe of glory. This they'd woven from generous love with a jewel-studded purple cloak that fitted well. They drew up a deed impressing it on my heart and memory. Go down to Egypt, fetch that one pearl from the ocean bed kept by a fierce serpent. Then you can wear your robe again, your precious cloak, and with your brother inherit our kingdom. I left with 2 friends, for the path was dangerous and I was young. I passed through Machian and their greedy merchants, then came to Babel and entered seedy Sarburg. I'd arrived in Egypt. My friends left. I went close to this serpent. I stayed at an inn until he fell asleep and I could seize the pearl. Since I was one and stayed within myself, I was unrecognized by my fellow guests. But I saw one youth like myself, a son of the king, an initiated one. He introduced himself and became my friend, someone in whom I could confide. He warned me about the Egyptians and making friends with the impure. But I had to wear clothes like theirs, or they might suspect I was a stranger who planned to steal the pearl. Yet they suspected I wasn't one of them and slyly bedeviled me, giving me strong drink and spiced meat. I soon forgot I was the king's son, and I slaved for their pharaoh. I even forgot the pearl. After their heavy food and rich drink, I fell into a deep sleep. My parents heard all about that happened and were very sad. It was announced in our kingdom that all must return. The kings of Parthia and eastern nobles decided I mustn't stay in Egypt. They sent me a letter. From your father, the king of kings, your mother, the eastern queen, your brother next in line, all send greetings. Awake from sleep. Remember, you're the son of a great king. See to whom you're enslaved. Recall the precious pearl and why you left for Egypt, and your robe of glory, your purple cloak, so you can wear them again, and your name be written in the hero's book, and with your brother succeed to our kingdom. This letter from the king was sealed by his right hand and contained a message of warning against the evil folk of Babel and Sarburg. It flew before me carried by an eagle, king of birds. It landed beside me, and the bird began to sing. The golden tone of his song woke me up. I held and stroked him, broke the seal and read. Then I remembered I was the son of a great king, and that pure soul yearned and craved for its own likeness. I recalled the priceless pearl for which I had gone down into the land of Egypt. I went to the serpent and charmed him to sleep, constantly repeating again and again my father's name and that of my brother next in line, and my mother, queen of the East. I seized the precious pearl and fled quickly to return to my beloved father. I threw off my filthy Egyptian smock, leaving it behind. Recollecting myself, I went east to come home. This clarion letter lit my path, and by its clarity encouraged me, and by its love led me on. I remembered my robe and my purple cloak, which I had left in my parents' house, and the treasures they had given me. When I pictured the robe in its full glory, it suddenly seemed to be a reflection of my real self. I saw my own self in this clear mirror, knowing the seer and the seen were not two but one. I saw myself in this clear mirror, knowing the seer and the seen were not two but one. The King of Kings was imaged there, shimmering all over as the true gnosis. I saw he was poised to sing, and I heard the murmur of his song. I am that power which acted in the acts of he who was reared in his father's house. I noted my strength grew according to my efforts. With kingly grace he poured love on me, with heraldic hands hastening me to drink. My love raced to greet him. I expanded, cladding myself with his rainbow hues. I threw his royal cloak over my whole self. Well robed, I entered the pearly gates of prostration and adoration. I bowed my head, kneeled and worshipped in my Father's presence. His will I obeyed in response to the fulfillment of his promise. He received me with open arms and holy joy, and I was with him in his kingdom. The seraphim praised him with loud song. Hallelujah! Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. He had honored his covenant, and I would come to his court, the King of Kings. For I had found the pearl beyond price, and would be with him eternally. So that really does represent the kind of call that we are invited to embody or explore ourselves. I'm about to show a couple images here. This is an image from William Blake, who is the English poet and author and artist. And so this represents a kind of image of what we might see as this rainbow garment. And so this understanding actually is put forward by William Henry. He's got a lot of great literature online and has done a lot of study with the imagery. So I just wanted to show that this notion of a rainbow cloak actually is tied up with a notion of transfiguration that we talked about last week. It is representative of shifting densities. It is representative of shifting our relationship with the physical waking world. And so in that way, we can expect a sort of recloaking of our bodies here and now. And so this is an image we see. This is an image called I believe it's the death of Joseph. So there's this rainbow above this body that is in light, right? The next image is of Padmasambhava, who brought Buddhism from India to Tibet. And so this is called the rainbow body of Padmasambhava. So we understand the Buddhist teaching is that at a certain level of attainment of these practices, the body becomes exactly like what you see here. It's sort of garbed in this rainbow light, from which emanation forms or different manifestations can occur. This is something like the body of Christ after the resurrection. So thank you for being present with that reading. I'm going to invite you into a quick contemplation of unity consciousness. So again, take a moment, simply tune into your breath. Right? We're going to use imagination and concepts to approach the notion of unity consciousness and the dreamlike nature of our reality. So I want you to start to sense or feel or imagine either a place in nature where you have felt safe and at peace, or a dream scenario that you have had recently or that's coming to mind. So simply allow the memory of a dream or the memory of being in nature to come to you. And it's whatever way it comes to you is wonderful. You might have a visceral memory of it. You might just go, oh, I really like that place over there. I'm going to use that place. Whatever you're doing is perfect. You might recall the dream from your morning right now. You can use that. So I'm going to invite you to explore that memory, that experience of holding this memory, this dream, this imagination of being in nature. I want you to explore it with your inner senses, so you might even want to close your eyes. And then start to explore what it is like to see that experience, that dream or that place in nature. Is it light or is it dark? Are there many things or few things around you? What's in the foreground? What's in the background? What's around you? What do you see? And then just moving on to the sensations of hearing. What do you hear? And you might be hearing these in your inner sense of hearing. You might actually be hearing something physically if you are gifted in that way. You might simply be imagining, oh, I'm by a river, and therefore I hear the babbling of the river. However you're experiencing it is perfect. That's the way to experience. Just explore, is it loud or is it quiet? Are there many different sounds or a few? Right? And then just move on in your sensing, feeling, and imagining to the sense of feeling, right? So is it warm or is it cold? Do you feel motion in the air or stillness? Do you feel anything particular in your body as you explore the memory or imagination of a dream or place in nature, right? And then finally, explore taste and touch. What's coming up? What do you imagine? What do you feel? And so after having explored this, I'm going to invite you into an imagination experience. So in a moment, I'm going to count to 3. When I reach the number 3, something will happen in this space of dream or nature for you. You are going to encounter a representative of yourself. So that might be a dream character, that might be a guide, it might be a teacher, it might be an angel, it might be an animal, it might be a light, it might be a color, it might be a sound. And this representative of your deeper self is going to present to you a surprise. And the surprise is a gift or a message, and that can be it can be like a letter, like the character in the fable of the pearl received from his parents, or like a letter, right? Like a scroll given by an eagle, or it could be a gift, like a box. I want it to be a surprise though to you. So it's going to be in an envelope, it's going to be wrapped up, something like that. So 1, knowing that you're established here in your imagination, in the dream, in the nature place, in that memory, knowing that you're safe and everything that you encounter is actually indeed an aspect of yourself. 2, calling on this guide or teacher, ally, animal, ancestor, aspect, representative of your higher self, your deeper self, to start to come closer and closer. And then 3, allow yourself to step into the presence of this being, or this being to step into the presence of you. Take a moment now before you open the gift or message to explore this being. Use your senses like we just did. Sight. What does this being look like? It might not be a being, it might just be a feeling. Whatever it is, it's perfect. What does it sound like? What does it feel like to be in its presence? Does it have a smell or a taste? Right? And now I want you to receive that gift or message and explore the outside, right? So, is it an envelope? Is it a treasure chest? Is it a present? Whatever. Explore that with your inner senses. And these can be imaginations. You can just say, I want to receive a pirate's treasure chest right now. And you can imagine that. That's perfectly fine. And now, in a moment, I want you to open that up. 1, 2, 3, open the gift, open the message, and explore what's there. Let it surprise you. This is a gift or message for you, from you, that has surprised you. Exploring just a little bit more. And now, just knowing you can come back here, coming back to that connection, coming back to that gift or message, I want you to say thank you. And then I want you to come back to your physical body, to your presence here and now, and just take a moment to reflect that all of that journey happened within you, that you were that guide, that you were the message, that you were the person that received that. It all happened in you. That's something like our experience here and now in unity consciousness. So thank you. You can take if you want, you can stay connected with that feeling. I'm going to offer some music. And as I offer music, just know that this is a space of inviting offering from you as well. So this space is offered by donation. Please give what you can to support our community and mission. You can do so by going to cosmicdreamsanctuary.org/donate. I offer ministerial support such as spiritual counseling, meditation instruction, healing, hypnosis, or dream sessions, or simply to talk and connect. And that you can connect with me at cosmicdreamsanctuary.org/process. So these are all offered by donation, and just like this service is. So if you feel inspired to and want to see more of this in your life, please go to cosmicdreamsanctuary.org/donate. And I'll just take a few moments here and offer some vibrations of my heart through the flute. Now a reading from the Book of Galactic Light, the third aether, that of Zom. The Book of Galactic Light is produced by me in collaboration with the greater spiritual community of angels that responded to my ritual and visionary call. I have a description of this at the Cosmic Dream Sanctuary YouTube channel or cosmicdreamsanctuary.org/message. So this is this was a trance experience that I engaged in communication with celestial beings. And this one chapter comes from my interaction with sort of like an angelic librarian. So in the Akashic records, this representative of that intelligence was here with me and gave me an opportunity to ask several questions. And so the first question, one of the questions I asked was, what is the nature of our reality in terms of dream or simulation? So that angel, this one here with me, says that reality is a dream of God, simply put. It is like a simulation. But the consequences of this experience are real. Much like one might experience healing or knowledge within a dream, so too actual movements within the soul of God occur in ways that are incomprehensible to the human mind right now. Therefore, in order to understand its nature, you must shift the identity from the individual human mind to the mind of God. And you can do that simply by the practices already mentioned. These are the practices that you've engaged in, which are mindfulness meditation, contemplation of unity consciousness, and prayer, right? You can receive the understanding of God through messaging and communications with beings who surround you and guide you and love you, who are in a field of unity consciousness and are capable of providing understanding, wisdom, and guidance. This invitation is wide open to all humans everywhere. Simply turn within. Simply ask for help. Address and evoke us in the most specific way you know possible, calling upon angels, extraterrestrials, elementals, or whatever. These are all expressions of unity consciousness through the world, through the earth, and through Gaia. There is no sense of unreality in waking up. So too then, the nature of this experience is dream. The unreality is an experience of disconnection from unity consciousness. Waking up to that illusion does not make the experience of life illusory or simulated. Rather, it deepens its realities at levels that are incomprehensible, but are very potent. So we are now at the time of the service where I will offer a message, offer the sermon. And the title of this is "The Dreamlike Nature of Reality Invites Us to Wake Up." So before we dive in very deep to this message, I do want to say a few things. First is that this contemplation, that the nature of waking reality is dreamlike, this whole contemplation is a very advanced practice, and we only engage in it within the context of our intentions to be of benefit to ourselves and others according to the principle of non-harm, and for the embodiment of peace, love, and unity consciousness here and now on the earth. So we are not engaged in this inquiry or contemplation as simply a way to have a interesting experience, right? This is actually a effective means for being of service. And we get that understanding from the Mahayana Lojang statements: regard all dharmas as dreams. This contemplation is a tool to awaken the mind to its deeper reality so that it can be of service here and now in earth, not so it can go away into fantasy or something like that. And so if you feel overwhelmed by the nature of the dreamlike nature of our reality, or you find yourself being harmful to yourself or others, or you find yourself not being of benefit or not embodying peace, love, and unity consciousness, then I invite you to come back to your intentions and come back to a mindfulness practice and to remember why we actually engage in this practice of contemplating the dreamlike nature of reality. It's so that we can be here and now on earth and be of service to others, our family, all of our relations in a good way. The second thing I need to say about the dreamlike nature of reality is that dreams are not unreal. So we might hear the statement, our waking reality is like a dream, right? So we might understand that as saying, oh, it's fantastic, it's unreal, or something like that. That is not the case. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying reality is ultimately dreamlike. And what does that mean? Well, we can actually look to the etymology of the word dream. And dream comes from an old English word and like Germanic roots that mean joyful music. Dreaming is joyful music. And so in my own understanding, and oftentimes in Christian understanding, we have this notion of the creator divinity being surrounded by angels singing praises, right? This is sort of like the ultimate dream-like experience, joyful music, right? Supporting an unfolding experience of reality. So that's sort of what we mean. Why are we talking about the dreamlike nature of reality? Like, what's at stake here? And why am I talking about it? Why is this the second message in this Sunday Fellowship Service series? Well, it is because the angelic connections, the angelic communications I've worked with indicate that it is criteria to understand that this is a dreamlike experience, right? It is a potent means of understanding that all of these different experiences that we have here and now in this waking world are something like motions in the mind of God. So when we look back to the reading from the Book of Galactic Light, where they invite the shifting of identity from the individual human to the mind of God, how do you do that? Well, you wake up to the dreamlike nature of your own reality. And I'm going to talk about what that means and how to do that, because it sounds really vast, right? So we'll use the metaphor of like a nightmare, right? And I've had this personal experience so many times of being in a dream, being very attached to the sense of reality of that dream. And I had actually series of these zombie apocalyptic dreams where I would be consumed alive, I would be killed, I would this, that, the other thing, and that would be very traumatic for me. But they would repeat over and over and over again until I learned to wake up to the dreamlike nature of that experience and say, whoa, I'm no longer being attached to this sense of being persecuted or a victim of this experience. I'm no longer attached to the that dreaming body, that dreaming experience. I know that this is something like a dream. In that nightmare experience I had, I go, okay. And so in that way gives me the capacity and the freedom to turn towards the persecutors, the victimizers, the aggressive elements in that dream. I go, oh, okay. Turn to them and say, let's stop, right? Like something needs to happen. And in dream studies, we actually see that when we invite lucidity, so this is awareness, this is awakening to the dream aspect of those experiences, we see that the dreamer has a capacity to have more freedom. So you go, oh, I'm dreaming. Now something can happen. Well, what can happen if you remember your lucid intent, if you have an intention to see your dreams as healing, meaningful, or insightful, transformative, then you have the opportunity to turn to those elements that are ultimately yourself, the zombies, the monsters, whatever, the nightmare creatures, and you go, oh, what wisdom do you have for me, right? You're no longer afraid of them because you're no longer attached to the dreamlike nature or the dream expression of your body, because you know you're actually sleeping, right? So then you can turn and say, what wisdom do you have for me? That turning, that sense of inviting lucidity into dream and turning towards the nightmare creatures and asking for wisdom, that whole process is seen to be very beneficial. And there are several papers in dream science that apply that principle and apply the practices of awakening to a dreamlike experience, apply that and give people who are experiencing dementia and psychosis those tools, and they actually find it's beneficial. That if we practice waking up to our lucid dreaming, if we practice lucid dreaming practices and wake up to the dreamlike nature of our experiences at night, that gives us the capacity to find insight about the nature of a reality here and now that leads to benefit, that leads to greater healing and presence here and now. So that is really the invitation. That's why I'm talking about the dreamlike nature of our reality. It's important because we are living in something like a nightmare. We are living in something like a nightmare. We are living like in the parable of the pearl. We are in that land of Egypt. We have forgotten our robes of glory, our rainbow bodies. We have forgotten these things. And we need to wake up actually. We actually yearn for that realm of love, of power and connection, but we have forgotten it, and we need something to wake us up. And that's really waking up to the dreamlike nature of our reality. In particular, speaking about the more kind of quantum healing or CE5, or the deeper aspects of relating to our spiritual, non-physical community, right? We see that it is something like a dream or a nightmare experience. So a lot of people are familiar with extraterrestrial contact through the archetypes of alien abduction, right? So these are sort of nightmarish experiences of visitation of like gray aliens, right? Or some such thing, or reptilians or whatever, who somehow are aggressive and perpetrating a sense of you being a victim, right? They paralyze you, they do something to you. These are like archetypes, these are narratives. You might actually have these experiences. And the invitation here is to understand that when we are identified and attached to the individual mind-body complex here, we will always be seen as something like a victim of those experiences, right? So we will always encounter in the encounter with the extraordinary, if we are attached to our individual ego persona mind complex thing, we will have the same experience of being trapped in a nightmare. And there's no way out, really. There's no way out. These beings are much more powerful, right, than we are, according to the narratives that are being brought forward by people. But actually, I would invite us to understand that we are much more than these individual minds. And so looking to the analogy as dreaming is to waking, waking is to unity consciousness. So we can wake up to this deeper reality of what we truly are. And that means we wake up to the notion that we aren't this physical body-mind complex thing alone. We are much more than that. And in that way, our suffering due to attachment to that, and that might be attachment to the narrative or the identity of being victimized by extraterrestrial beings. It might be the attachment to the identity that you are an angelic communicator or whatever, or have psychic gifts, whatever that is. You're invited to let go of that individual identity and move into an identity with unity consciousness, and then seeing everything that unfolds as an expression, as something like a dream in the mind of the cosmic dreamer. And so that's what you are. That's what the message is. That's what the invitation is. So if this invitation inspired you, we can do some dream incubation practice, and we can do some setting forth of intention and invitation. And that will happen at the closing contemplation. Right now, I want to move into the meet our greater community. And so just take a moment now to tune into yourself and to invite the presence of Archangel Gabriel in your we're going to read from the book of Daniel to describe how Gabriel interacts, the angel Gabriel, who is actually indeed associated with dreams, right, as the messenger, right, as the archangel of water, right, the element of water. He is associated with dreams. So in the book of Daniel, in the 3rd year of King Belshazzar's reign, I, Daniel, had a vision, after the one had already appeared to me. In my vision, I saw myself in the citadel of Susa, in the province of Elam. In the vision, I was beside the Ulia canal. While I, Daniel, was watching the vision and trying to understand it, there before me stood one who looked like a man. And I heard a man's voice from the Ulia calling, "Gabriel, tell this man the meaning of the vision." As he came near the place I was standing, I was terrified and fell prostrate. "Son of man," he says to me, "understand that this vision concerns the end of time." In the next chapter in the book of Daniel, he is praying and encounters Gabriel again. While I was speaking and praying, confessing my sins and the sins of my people Israel, and making my request to the Lord my God for his holy hill, while I was still in prayer, Gabriel, the man I had seen in the earlier vision, came to me in swift flight about the time of the evening sacrifice. He instructed me and said to me, Daniel, I have now come to give you insight and understanding. As soon as you begin to pray, a word went out, which I have come to tell you, for you are highly esteemed. Therefore, consider the word and the understanding, and understand the vision. He goes on to explain the nature of the vision. I find what's interesting here is the nature of communication. That prayer went out and immediately Gabriel responds. So that's something that you could explore in your life. Finally, we have 2 readings from the book of Luke announcing John the Baptist and then Jesus the Christ. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing at the right side of the altar of incense. When Zacharias saw him, he was startled and gripped with fear. But the angel said to him, Do not be afraid, Zachariah. Your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you are to call him John. The angel said to him, I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to tell you this good news. And now you will be silent and not be able to speak until the day this happens, because you did not believe my words, which will come true at their appointed time. Now announcing the birth of Christ to Mary, the angel went to her and said, Greetings, you are highly favored. The Lord is with you. Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. But the angel said to her, Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. So I selected these experiences. Here's an image of the Archangel Gabriel with a rainbow cloak, rainbow wings. This is from Van Eyck, and this is the Annunciation. So Gabriel's announcing this to the Virgin Mary. The reason why I selected those is it gives a sense of personality of Gabriel. So he shows up with prayer. Right? You pray, he shows up. There's a communication, a message that is often given. Gabriel's often really concerned around the esteem you have, the integrity you have as a person, and will, sort of make you silent if you don't believe in him or something like that. So that is a kind of an expression of how you might interact with this being here and now. So we'll do the closing contemplation. I'll have some announcements, and then we'll shift over to fellowship. The closing contemplation is simply a way to conclude the service. And in this service particularly, I want to invite you to incubate a dream. Dream incubation is a way of saying, I want to have a dream that follows my intention, right? So I'm actually inviting you to incubate a dream-like experience in your waking experience or your dream life, wherever is meaningful to you. So I am inviting you here now to send forth the invitation, the intention, and the permission to our greater spiritual community. That might be to the Archangel Gabriel. That might be directly to God. That might be to yourself or higher self. That might be to the universe. Whatever you pray to. I invite you to pray to that. And but specifically from the perspective of unity consciousness. So understanding that you are them, right? And that you send forth this invitation and intention according to the principles of non-harm for the benefit of yourself and your relations, so that you may become more embodied here and now on earth. So that's the container of the intention. And the intention is to invite and permit an experience that will reveal to you the dreamlike nature of reality. So whatever that means to you, right? And the way that you can send forth that intention is just say yes when I invite you to. So I'll set up some context here, and then in a few moments I'll say, yes, and then you can say yes, and I'll say, so be it, amen. And you can say, so be it, amen. And just know that what we're doing here now is establishing, it's a ritual, it's a communication, it's a sending forth of that invitation. So again, tuning into our understanding of unity consciousness, again, tuning into the containers of our practice, which is our intention to be a benefit according to the principle of non-harm, to embody peace, love, and unity consciousness. We send forth an invitation to our greater self, the mind of God, as we understand it. And this might be in the form of Archangel Gabriel. It might be in the form of some other aspect of truly yourself who can be of service here and now and help reveal the dreamlike nature of your experience. And the experience that you might receive might be a dream, a symbol, a synchronicity, an omen. You might have an encounter with a UFO. You might have an encounter with ET. If you do, remember that not to be afraid, right? So like with the readings of Gabriel, do not be afraid. It's terrifying. It's a lot. There's a lot that might happen, especially if you have had a history of interaction with ET that is sort of that you have felt like a victim, right? Maybe that's not the thing you should start with. Maybe you might want to invite something kinder to yourself to awaken yourself to this understanding of unity consciousness. So be it, right? Like we ask for that kind of experience in your life in a way that's kind to you, right? That can actually help you embody and move through these experiences to understand the dreamlike nature of a reality. So in a few moments, I'll say, I invite you to say yes, right? You'll be saying yes to that invitation. So with me now, yes, we invite connection with a greater spiritual community in unity consciousness to reveal the dreamlike nature of our waking reality. Yes, we do so according to the principles of non-harm, the cosmic law of one, for the benefit of beings. Yes, we invite and permit connection with realms of consciousness in the fifth density and higher that embody unity consciousness to bring and help us bring those frequencies of unity consciousness here and now on earth. Yes, yes, yes. So be it. Amen. We'll close the sacred space by dedicating merit. I'll go into announcements and then we'll go into fellowship. So by this merit, may all obtain omniscience. May it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. So I invite you now to join the family, to realize, that we are all this one cosmic dreamer. So we're co-creating this journey together. I would love to learn more about you and how I can serve you better. So take a few moments and fill out the membership and intake form. That's at cosmicdreamsanctuary.org/join. So now I'm going to promote lightnet.org and exometaverse.org. This is a citizen science platform that dedicated to the fields of consciousness in the case of LightNet, and ET Contact, actually, in the case of exometaverse. These are spaces where we engage in citizen science and in connection with one another. So if you're interested, we run every other week hangouts on Thursday night with exometaverse, and there's a lot of interesting development happening with lightnet.org. Dreamwell Be Well, you can get to at dreamwellbewell.com. This is a dream app, that dream journal app and meditation instruction, and my dream meditation, guided dream meditation. It's designed to help improve your dream recall frequency and help keep you engaged with your dreaming practice. Finally, I would like to invite you to envision with me the Starseed portal space. We are envisioning, my family and I, and the community here, an actual physical space where we can explore these things, where we can actually and truly open real portals or stargates to the fifth density and beyond, to bring forth or meet halfway these frequencies. So we see the starseed phenomenon, that of extraterrestrial or angelic or elemental beings, coming and incarnating in human bodies to be of benefit to people. And we understand that there is a communication of frequency, and that frequency gap is often challenging for those souls. And in that way, we are envisioning a space that can meet those dimensions and densities halfway, so that the experience of coming through the birth portal is much more kind and gentle than has ever been experienced in our Western medical history. So that's the invitation. If you want to make this place a real place, get in touch with me at daniel@cosmicdreamsanctuary.org. Finally, we've got some study and practice. It is group coming up on Wednesday nights, so you can get more information on the website. Again, I offer one-time or ongoing services by donation, as spiritual counseling, hypnosis, and dream services. And you are invited to participate in this service by offering a video or even a live offering. So you can learn more at the website cosmicdreamsanctuary.org. And now I will invite you to join us for fellowship. You can do that by following the link cosmicdreamsanctuary.org/fellowship. On there will be a button to join the Zoom group. It's also posted in the comments on the YouTube channel and also the Facebook events. So we invite you to come to the space of fellowship. We'll engage in circle-based discussion and then chit-chat style. So take a few moments, and then I'll see you there. And I will offer a closing flute music. And thank you for being present.